Good morning. My name is Nakia Johnson. I am one of the owners and executive director for Promise Rose Residential Care Home. I am here with Forward Times.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Jeffrey L. Boney here, associate editor of the historic Houston Forward Times newspaper, here with Nakia Johnson with Promise Rose Residential Care Home over here in Southeast Houston. And we're coming here to talk to her today about her outstanding facility and the great work they're doing in the community with our youth. So let's talk about Promise Rose. Tell us a little bit about the entity and how it got started.
Okay. So originally, my parents were foster parents for about 15 years. From there, I helped them out a lot, so I was able to work with the kids through crisis that had different backgrounds, different diagnoses. I then went to work for Fort Bend Juvenile Detention Center, and there I met my fiance, Dante Abram, and we kind of talked about opening one of these facilities. So in the past, he's been doing it for 20 years too. So most facilities have about 13 to 15 kids within one home. So our goal was to make a RTC more home environment, more family friendly, and that was our goal. So we set up 3 cottages and said, let's do small homes, maybe 4, max 8 kids per house, and we can lower the stimulation and be more successful where the kids can return home.
That's great, Nakia. So tell us what inspired you, though, to do this? I mean, what was your passion? I mean, like, why this work?
It's funny you asked that. So growing up, I used to always say I want to be an attorney, I want to be a lawyer, never want to work with kids. And the reason being was I said, well, what if I can't help them return home, or what if I'm not as good? So I always was a mentor. Even in high school, I joined the PAL program where I tutored several individuals. I was there, I met with parents, allowed them to go shopping and work with autistic kids as well. So once I got to the juvenile, I noticed that the majority of the kids in juvenile were in CPS custody. So then I had a heart for it. I understood that these kids needed help, they needed an outlet to have a better future.
You know, you talk about the CPS system, and you hear so many dire straight stories and challenging stories about the CPS system, and a lot of our children, African American children, are caught up in that system. So tell us some of the challenges that you see that some of our families, some of our children are experiencing that you see come through this program.
And I'll start with African American kids. A lot of them don't have a chance. The majority of them aren't placed first in the facilities. Sad to say, but they don't get pushed as much. As far as the other residents, a lot of them, they reach out, they're saying, hey, here's the sources that's available. So we do have more sources on that end, but the scary part now is the fact that a lot of these kids don't have anywhere to go to. So even when they're coming here, the success story isn't being successful anymore. So the goal is to return home, but there's no homes to return to. So a lot of our kids are in CWAP now, and that's children without placement.
Wow. So what happens with those kids? I guess they just become adults, and
a lot of times those residents are between 17 and 18 years of age, and they age out of care, sadly. So the homeless rate is increasing now.
when you say homeless rate, they have no place to go at all. Like, so when you talk about resources and things of that nature, I mean, do you all provide them with I guess, the next step?
So a lot of facilities does have those options. There's a program called PAL as well. So when a kid hit 15, they are required to start doing PAL classes. So when they're graduating, they're able to have some type of sources. They give them free tuition for college, also get incentives to help pay for books or even dorms or apartments. A lot of times the kids never finish the PAL program because they move so much. So that's something that we do kind of push here, where once they're here, we're reaching out to the PAL program and caseworkers and making sure we stay in touch. So we do have one 17-year-old that will be graduating successfully this year.
So what could happen from a high-level standpoint to not have a need for a program or organization like yours? I mean, like, how do you solve this issue?
It's all therapeutic. Getting into the neighborhoods, reaching out to the communities, meeting with these parents, because we do understand the parents lack the knowledge. So making sure the parents are going through courses so we don't have to remove the kids. And I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of the parents have diagnoses within themselves. So if we're not targeting those diagnoses, getting them the help and medication that may be required, how are they?
Can you expound on that? When you say diagnosis, like what kind of?
So our population, majority of them are ADHD, bipolar, schizophrenia, mood dysregulation disorder, DMDD. So some things are genetics. It is passed down from parents. So a lot of times we find out that the parents are also schizophrenia and bipolar, but hadn't been diagnosed properly until the kids were removed. So now at that point it's kind of too late. So can the kid return home to that parent? So that's something that I think, sure enough, in our communities, I would like to be honest, African Americans kind of shy away from therapy. We shy away from interventions and things like that. So that's something that we do reach out to the community and push. So we are going to the local schools and saying, hey, if you guys need any resources, we can come in and train. I'm willing to send my staff up there to train as well.
So from a community standpoint, how can the community help organizations like you and help these kids and these families?
Back us for one. So if we're coming to the table, like I said, I'm heavily involved at the school. So when I come and say, hey, these are our kids' behaviors, get to know our kids, get to know the behaviors that they may exhibit, get to know the diagnosis and the medication they are taking. So instead of saying, hey, he's acting a fool, let's send him home, you're aware of the behaviors. And even from a standpoint of a residential facility, a lot of times the residential facilities have to do their part as well. So what we do is personally meet with the schools prior to the kids actually going there. So they're aware of their behaviors. They get enlightenment forms which document their triggers, coping skills. So they do have some type of information on how to deal with them.
What are some of the challenges that you've seen or that you see come through here that I guess if you're at liberty to share that cause some of this deep trauma with some of our kids?
Some of our boys have been trafficked. Some of them
Human trafficking?
Yes.
Like sex trafficking?
Yes, sir.
Oh no.
Some of them have been physically abused. Some of them have been made to live in dog cages, malnutrition, beaten, so things like that.
Oh my goodness. Well, thank you so much for the work you all do at Promise Rose. Is there anything that you want to share with the community that maybe you think would be helpful for them to know about you all and also about the work that you do?
Okay, Promise Rose Residential Care Home is 501c accredited, meaning we are nonprofit. Our age group are ages 8 through 17, males. We would like to reach out to the community, different churches, and actually get a lot of mentors and volunteers. A lot of times the boys don't have anywhere to go for the holidays, so we do seek individuals that may be able to pick them up. We do take financial donations, hygiene products. A big one now is duffel bags. Of course, when the kids are going from placement to placement, a lot of them are packing up things in trash bags. So we do find ourselves going to Walmart to try to buy luggages just so the boys have luggage to take from placement to placement. Promise Rose can be contacted at promiserosrch.org, and phone number is 832-301-4065.